ladies, welcome to April's Coffee and Card. We're on week 2 now, and we're using the beautiful Beauty of Friendships, which I haven't actually got out yet. Just let me get that out. So I'm just surrounded by wires here at the moment because I'm filming later on in the day than I would do normally, so I've got a little bit more light than I would, or artificial light than I would have normally on. Right, okay, so we're using the Beauty of Friendship, and we're not using the dies this week. This is just stamping. And then we're going to cut out a background from the DSP that I've given you. Right, so, or possibly not. We shall find out when I open the package. Right. Okay, so Coffee and Card, Beauty of Friendship, week 2. So, it's been a very weird week this week. And well, the weather's been weird all April, hasn't it? I mean, I know it says April showers, but my goodness, we've had some. So I got soaked to the skin walking around Selwood Park this morning with my friend. I just have to get those steps in, don't we, ladies? So again, I'm using vellum. And we've got a little piece here to do some stamping on, and then a background piece to layer it onto. So basic white and early espresso basic white again for cutting out. Oh, we are cutting. See, there we go. I'm telling lies. We're die cutting out the sentiment. And then I've got a piece of basic white thick, which is 21 by 14.85, and I've just scored it at 10.5 to get my card blank. So we'll do our stamping first of all. Right, so this is when I have to remember what colour I use. A nice green. That looks like an olivey green to me, so I'm going to grab my old olive, and then I know the brown is early espresso. That is my favourite brown. Not quite true. When we used to have, we had a chocolate brown. Can't remember what it was called now. But it was a really rich chocolate brown, and that was really nice. That went a few years ago, actually. So, I digress. Oh, it's going to annoy me now until I remember it. Okay, so we're going to start with the tree. And I'm using a debulk, but I'm having to use it as an angle because it's quite a long tree. And I just want it so it's hanging off the bottom. So I'm just gently tapping to make sure I've got lots of ink. And I do know on my little stamp here, I've just got a couple of areas that just catch. Let's see if I can get away with it. If not, I'll use the emergency other side. So what I'm doing is actually putting it quite gently down, but then leaving it a while to let the ink transfer across. So, there we go, beautiful. It didn't pick it up at all. So, okay, and then I'm going to get my little sentiment block here and picking up the Thinking of You. So quite often you can use pens to ink up stamps and then stamp them. Unfortunately, in a class you can use water-based pens to do this. Unfortunately, in one of my classes somebody used an alcohol pen, so it's beautifully stained my stamp. It doesn't make any difference to its quality. It still stamps just the same. It's just absorbed the alcohol. So there we go, Thinking of You. Doesn't have to be terribly straight because I'm going to die cut that out. And then finally we're going to do the tree. So there's 2 tree stamps, one that's got less detail on, and I'm going to use the one with the, we call this distinctive stamping, so it looks like you've actually stamped twice and you haven't. It's just the way the ink clings to the stamp, it gives like a 3D image without you having to double stamp. So it's going to fit on the trusty D block. Everything, almost everything fits on the trusty D block. Okay, and as I say, I'm going to get the old olive out to do this. So I'm just doing some planning at the moment for the next quarter. So in April's April's coffee and card is going to be, sorry, May's coffee and card, because we're in April. May's coffee and card is actually going to be the Waves of Inspiration stamp set. So I've been playing with that. It is gorgeous. I do just love it. It's so nice. Right, and I'm just putting that so it's just covering, it's in the middle and it's covering the branches. And again, a few fairy fingers, just getting that ink across. Like sometimes with the bigger blocks, you have to be a bit in the middle. How beautiful is that? I suspect we did not use Old Olive on the original card, but any green would work for this card because there are so many greens in the DSP that you can use any green you want on the actual tree itself. I'm intrigued now. I wonder which one I used. Answers on a postcard. Paper's House, maybe. It still looks a bit dark for Paper's House. Right. So that's all of my stamping done. So I'm just going to get out my mini cut and emboss machine. Because all of the dies on the Beauty of Friendship die set work on the mini embossing machine. I'll pop these to one side and get it from my shelf. So there was a problem with these machines. Basically, you were having to stagger the plates to make it go through. Now, this obviously isn't Stampin' Up policy, this is my policy. I'm using the embossing plate instead of the die cutting plate, and I find I don't have that problem anymore. So I keep meaning to buy myself a new set of plates and just see if it's the plates or the machine that's not quite lined up properly. If I'd have realised sooner, I'd have sent it back. So I've had it a bit too long now and it still works beautifully, so it's fine. Right, here we go. So we are thinking of you, and I'm just positioning that. The one thing I have found with this, I do just use one plate on the top all the time, or as most of the time. As you can see, some people have used it as a bottom plate, and then a different plate for the bottom plate. And I'm finding these plates are staying super flat. There we go. And I do love that this folds away, so I can just keep it in. I do have the big one that's over on a Rascog trolley at the other end of my room, so it's nice to just have that one just there. Right, pop this away. And then I'll just get my piece of Designer Series paper out. So as I say, in an envelope I've given you one 6x6 piece of every piece of DSP, and we're using this one today. I quite liked it as a background, so that's the wood effect on one side, and then it's got the trees growing up on this side. So I'll use that one, and I need a piece that's 14.4 by 10, and it's 14.4 high by 10 centimetres wide to give us the card front. Oops, just nearly knocked my coffee over, not good. So 10 centimetres wide with your trees going up away from you. So again, keep that for another card. And then 14.4 centimetres high. That, yeah, I'm allowing you to throw that away. So. Okay, now we just need to put everything together. Try not to throw your sentiment on the floor, Linda. Excuse me a moment. Right, okay, so we've got everything we need now. So, I'm going to get my wet glue, which is my glue of choice. Just going to put a thin layer, or a thin ribbon of glue all around, and then again, and then stick this so that the trees are growing up. So I do like the wet glue because you get a little bit of wiggle room. There you go, right side. Now, as we discussed last week with vellum, you need to put the glue where it's going to be hidden. Okay, so what I've done, what I did with this was, so I positioned my piece of early espresso where I wanted it, turned it over, and I'm going to put some tear and tape. So as I said before, dry glue is better with vellum. If you use a wet glue, it's much more likely to bend. Doesn't like getting wet, doesn't vellum. So I'm just going to put a few pieces of tear and tape where I know they're not going to show. You don't need a huge amount because it does stick very well. Okay, let's just put another strip just down there. Oops, managed to curl it, which is not what I meant to do. There we are. Okay, so they will be hidden by the early espresso piece. Okay, and I'm going to stick this down. So I'm just lifting off the backing paper of the tear and tape, and you'll see, probably because we are putting it onto quite a dark surface, you'll probably be able to see the tape and see why we do have to hide it. But usually with a bit of imagination you can hide it, and you know, if all is lost, dabs of glue with diamantes or candy spots or something on top, so you can see there. You can see there that you can see the tape, so you wouldn't want that showing, but it doesn't matter on this card because it's not going to. Okay, and then I'm going to pop some glue on the back of here, and this is actually going to be up on dimensionals. So, do post in the comments what you're thinking about these cards that we're making this month, and if you haven't got the kit already, then drop me a message and I can sort you one out. You can either get the supplies from your demonstrator or you can get them from me. What I would say is the dies are retiring at the end of this month. When the new catalogue comes out, the stamps are staying but the dies aren't. Okay, so we're now going to glue on the naughty sentiment that's disappeared again. Now, as you can see, it's hanging off, so I'm going to put the glue on the thinking of you end. The watch thinks I'm talking to it.
I didn't get that.
Yes.
Could you try again?
No. And I'm just going to put that across, so it's just across the tree, but a little bit of it's hanging off. And let's use the grid paper to actually get it straight. So that's straight. Yeah, I'm going with that straight. Okay, and then that I'm going to add, where are my stones? I bet I've thrown them away. There should be 3 metallic gems, and there are. That was close. In fact, I've given you 4. I've given you various different colours because they're all autumny colours. They'll go with the they all go with the DSP, I think. So I'm just going to grab my pokey tool I can never remember what this is called. Take your pick. There we go. So one nice big one right by your sentiment to draw the eye, and then I'm going to just put a couple of little ones around the tree. There we go, just to decorate. Okay, and then you've got one spare to do something else with. You could use it on one of the other cards. Okay, and now I'm going to use some dimensionals. So I'm going to use two sorts of dimensionals. I'm using my normal ones, and they're normal ones. I'm just looking for a little pack. You know, whenever you want little ones, all you can find is big ones. Oh, there we go. I'll use the bones of this one. Right, so I've got glue scissors here. So I'm just going to cut off. This is the edge. Nearly finished. And I'm just going to put it here to support the banner. So that's just on there, and then I think probably 5, maybe 6 dimensionals. I might actually use 6. So, and then 2 sort of in the middle. Should be enough. Obviously, if you're posting it, then I'll put a few more on. And also check the thickness, because in the UK you can only post a standard letter if it's less than ½ centimetre thick, and when you've got when you've got gems and stickies, dimensionals, it's more than ½ centimetre thick, so you have to be careful. You have to pay large letter rather than standard letter. And then I've just centered this over onto the other side of the card. So horizontally it's this way, vertically it's equal. And there we go. And there's this week's card. So a nice simple card for you there. Okay, and I hope you're enjoying this. As I say, thumbs up helps the algorithm, and a little comment always does good as well. And I look forward to seeing you next week. Take care. Bye.